Welcome to my channel. Subscribe, listen, and enjoy my stories every day. It's a typical Monday morning at the office. My desk is cluttered with papers, my computer screen is filled with spreadsheets, and the faint aroma of coffee lingers in the air. I cradle my favorite mug, a sturdy ceramic one with a quirky cat face painted on it, taking a sip of the lukewarm liquid as I try to focus on the numbers in front of me. The mug has been my companion through countless late nights and early mornings, a comforting constant in the chaos of corporate life. The usual office din surrounds me, phones ringing, keyboards clacking, and colleagues murmuring about their weekend exploits. I'm in the zone, tuning out the noise, when the glass doors to our office swing open with an unexpected force. I look up, curiosity piqued, and my heart nearly stops. There she is, Rebecca, my ex-wife. She looks just as I remember her, tall, with wavy auburn hair cascading down her back, and those piercing green eyes that once held so much love but now seem hardened by time and circumstances. But it's not just her presence that shocks me. It's the small child clutching her hand and the oversized suitcase she's dragging behind her. "Alex," she says, her voice carrying a mixture of desperation and determination, "we need to talk." I stand up, almost dropping my mug in the process. My mind races, trying to process the scene unfolding before me. The child, a boy who can't be more than 4 years old, looks up at me with wide, innocent eyes. He has Rebecca's hair and eyes, but there's something familiar about his face that makes my stomach churn. "Rebecca, what are you doing here?" I manage to ask, my voice betraying my confusion and irritation. She takes a deep breath, steadying herself. "This is Samuel," she says, gesturing to the boy. "He's your son, and we have nowhere else to go." The words hit me like a punch to the gut. My son? I look at Samuel again, trying to see myself in him, but all I feel is a whirlwind of emotions: anger, betrayal, disbelief. "You must be joking," I say, my voice cold. "Last time I checked, you were with someone else. How do I even know he's mine?" Rebecca's eyes flash with anger. "He's yours, Alex. I wouldn't be here if he wasn't. His father, his biological father, wants nothing to do with him. We're alone, and I don't have anyone else to turn to." The office is now deathly silent, all eyes on us. My colleagues are probably relishing the unexpected drama, but I couldn't care less. My world is crashing down around me, and all I can think about is getting out of this nightmare. "Let's go somewhere private," I say through gritted teeth, grabbing my jacket. "We need to talk about this." Rebecca nods, relief flickering across her face. I lead her and Samuel out of the office, ignoring the curious stares and whispers. We head to the small conference room at the end of the hallway, and I shut the door behind us, sealing us off from the prying eyes. "Sit," I say, more harshly than intended. Rebecca obeys, and Samuel clings to her, looking scared and confused. I take a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts. "Explain everything." Rebecca starts from the beginning. She tells me about how things fell apart between her and her lover, how he abandoned her when he found out she was pregnant. She moved back to our old city, scraping by with odd jobs and the last remnants of her savings. But things have been tough, and now she's at the end of her rope. "I don't know what else to do, Alex," she says, her voice breaking. I thought. "I hoped you could help us. Help him." I stare at Samuel, who's now playing with a toy car he pulled from his pocket. He's innocent in all this, and a part of me feels a pang of sympathy. But then I remember the betrayal, the years of deceit. How can I be sure this is even my problem? "Why should I believe you?" I ask, my voice cold and unyielding. "Why should I take on this responsibility?" Rebecca's eyes fill with tears. "Because you're a good man, Alex. Despite everything that happened between us, I know you're a good man, and Samuel, he needs you." Her words hang in the air, heavy and suffocating. I feel trapped, caught between my resentment for Rebecca and the innocent eyes of a child who might be mine. But before I can make any decisions, there's something I need to do. "I'll help you," I say finally, my voice strained. "But I need to sort some things out first. I need to find him, your lover. He's the one responsible for this mess, not me." Rebecca looks startled but nods, understanding. "Thank you, Alex. I know it's a lot to ask." I nod curtly, already planning my next move. I'll find the man who ruined my life and hold him accountable. But for now I have a child to care for and a storm of emotions to weather, and as I look at Samuel again, I can't help but wonder what the future holds for all of us. After the bombshell Rebecca dropped on me, I barely managed to make it through the rest of the workday. My thoughts are a chaotic mess, and focusing on spreadsheets and meetings is nearly impossible. The moment the clock hits 5, I grab my things and head for the exit, my mind set on one thing: finding the man who turned my life upside down. Outside, the city is bustling with the usual rush hour frenzy. I hail a cab, directing it to a small bar on the edge of town. This place, the Rusty Nail, is where Rebecca's lover Mark used to hang out. I hope to find someone who knows where he might be. The bar is dimly lit and smells of stale beer. The clientele looks like they've seen better days, and the bartender, a burly man with a graying beard, eyes me suspiciously as I approach. "What can I get you?" he grumbles, wiping a glass with a rag that looks like it's seen better days too. "Information," I say, sliding a 20 across the counter. "I'm looking for Mark Evans. Heard he used to hang around here." The bartender's eyes narrow, but the sight of the money softens his demeanor. "Mark, huh? Haven't seen him in a while? Caused a lot of trouble last time he was here. What's it to you?" "He owes me something," I say vaguely, "and I need to settle things." The bartender nods, pocketing the bill. "Try asking around. Might find someone who knows something." I thank him and start making my way through the bar, asking patrons if they know Mark. Most people shrug me off or give vague answers, but then I spot a familiar face in the corner: Jake, an old high school buddy. He's hunched over a beer, looking like he's been through hell. "Jake," I call out, and he looks up, surprise flashing across his face. "Alex? Man, it's been ages. What are you doing here?" He gestures for me to join him. I sit down, explaining the situation in hushed tones. Jake listens, his brow furrowing deeper with each word. "Mark Evans, he mutters. "That guy's bad news. Last I heard, he was crashing at his cousin's place on the south side, real shady part of town." I thank Jake and head out, my resolve hardening. The south side is notorious for its crime rate, but I don't have a choice. I need answers. The cab ride to the south side feels like a journey to another world. The buildings here are run down, graffiti covered, and the streets are filled with people who look like they're up to no good. I steel myself, knowing I need to keep my wits about me. I find the building Jake mentioned, a dilapidated apartment complex that looks like it's on the verge of collapse. I knock on the door of apartment 3 billion, my heart pounding in my chest. A moment later, the door swings open, revealing a disheveled man in his 30s. He has a rough look about him: unkempt hair, bloodshot eyes, and a permanent scowl. "Mark Evans?" I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. "Who's asking?" he growls. "Alex Daniels. We need to talk." He eyes me suspiciously but steps aside, letting me in. The apartment is a mess, with empty beer cans and takeout containers strewn about. Mark flops onto a threadbare couch, eyeing me warily. "So, what's this about?" he asks, lighting a cigarette. "It's about Rebecca and Samuel," I say bluntly. "She showed up at my office today, claiming Samuel is my son, and that you've abandoned them." Mark's eyes flicker with something: guilt, maybe, but he quickly masks it. "Yeah, so what? She's your problem now." I feel my temper rising but force myself to stay calm. "Samuel might be my son, but this mess is yours. You need to take responsibility." Mark laughs, a harsh, bitter sound. "Responsibility? You think I care about that kid? Rebecca made her choices, and now she has to live with them." "That's not good enough," I snap. "You can't just walk away from this. There's a child involved." He glares at me, taking a long drag of his cigarette. "Look, man, I didn't ask for any of this. I told Rebecca from the start that I wasn't interested in kids. She thought she could change my mind, but she was wrong, so now she's playing the victim and dragging you into it." "She didn't have a choice," I retort. "She's desperate, and you're the one who put her in this situation." Mark shrugs, clearly unfazed. "Not my problem anymore. If you want to play daddy, be my guest, but I'm out." I realize I'm not going to get anywhere with him. He's made up his mind, and nothing I say will change that. But I can't walk away empty-handed. Fine, I say, standing up, but don't think this is over. You'll be hearing from me again. Mark just smirks, taking another drag of his cigarette, looking forward to it. I leave the apartment, feeling more frustrated than ever. Rebecca might have made mistakes, but Mark is a coward, unwilling to face the consequences of his actions. I need to find another way to help Samuel and Rebecca, but I can't do it alone. Back at my apartment, I collapse onto the couch, my mind racing. I think about Samuel, about the life he's had so far, and about what kind of future he deserves. I can't abandon him, even if it means taking on responsibilities I never asked for. As I'm pondering my next move, my phone rings. It's Jake. Hey Alex, I've been thinking, if you need help with this whole mess, I'm here for you. We go way back, and I hate seeing you like this. Thanks, Jake, I say, feeling a surge of gratitude. I might just take you up on that. Hanging up, I feel a renewed sense of determination. I'm not alone in this. With Jake's help, maybe we can figure out a way to give Samuel the stability he deserves. But first, I need to talk to Rebecca again and make sure we're on the same page. The road ahead is uncertain, filled with challenges and difficult choices. But one thing is clear, I'm not going to let Samuel suffer because of the mistakes of the past. I'll fight for him, no matter what it takes. The next morning, I wake up with a renewed sense of purpose. I can't let Rebecca and Samuel down. I grab my phone and call Jake. Jake, it's Alex. We need to meet. There's a lot to discuss. Jake agrees to meet me at a diner near my apartment. As I walk in, I spot him in a corner booth, nursing a cup of coffee. His expression is serious, and he nods as I slide into the seat across from him. Thanks for meeting me, I say, signaling the waitress for a coffee. I need your help. This situation with Rebecca and Samuel, it's a mess. Jake leans forward, his eyes intense. I've been thinking about it all night. We need to figure out a plan. What's your next move? I want to talk to Rebecca again. We need to figure out a long-term solution for Samuel, but I also want to make sure that Mark doesn't just get away with abandoning them. Jake nods. Sounds like a plan. Let's go see Rebecca. We finish our coffee and head to the small apartment Rebecca managed to find. It's in a slightly better part of town, but it's clear that she's barely scraping by. I knock on the door, and after a moment, Rebecca opens it, looking exhausted but relieved to see us. Alex, Jake, come in, she says, stepping aside. Samuel is sitting on the floor, playing with a set of toy blocks. He looks up and smiles when he sees me, and my heart aches at the thought of him being caught in the middle of all this. Rebecca, we need to talk, I say, once we're all seated in the small living room. Jake's here to help. We need to figure out a plan for Samuel, and we need to deal with Mark. Rebecca sighs, her shoulders slumping. I don't know what to do, Alex. I'm trying my best, but it's so hard. I reach out and take her hand, trying to offer some comfort. We're going to figure this out, but I need you to be honest with me. Is Samuel really my son? She looks me straight in the eyes, her expression earnest. Yes, Alex, I wouldn't lie about something like this. He's yours. I nod, taking a deep breath. All right, first, we need to get a paternity test, just to be sure. Then we'll figure out how to support Samuel, and as for Mark, we're not letting him off the hook. Jake chimes in. I have a friend who works in family law. He can help us navigate the legal aspects. We need to make sure Samuel's best interests are protected. Rebecca's eyes fill with tears, but she smiles gratefully. Thank you, both of you. I don't know what I would do without your help. We're in this together, I say, squeezing her hand. We'll get through it. Later that day, Jake and I head to his friend's office. The lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Lisa, listens intently as we explain the situation. You've got a tough road ahead, she says, not sugarcoating the reality. First, we'll need to establish paternity. Once that's done, you can petition for custody or at least visitation rights. As for Mark, we can pursue him for child support. He won't be able to just walk away from his responsibilities. Jake and I leave Lisa's office feeling more hopeful. The legal path is clear, but it's going to be a battle. We return to Rebecca's apartment to share the plan with her. Lisa's going to help us with the legal side of things, I explain. First step is the paternity test. Once that's settled, we can start thinking about long-term solutions. Rebecca nods, looking more relieved than I've seen her in days. Thank you, Alex. I can't tell you how much this means to me. It's not just for you, Rebecca. It's for Samuel. He deserves a stable home and a bright future. We set up an appointment for the paternity test, and the days that follow are a blur of legal paperwork and tense waiting. Jake is a constant presence, offering support and helping with the logistics. Samuel, blissfully unaware of the turmoil around him, continues to play and laugh, his innocence a stark contrast to the chaos. Finally, the day of the paternity test arrives. Rebecca, Samuel, and I head to the clinic, accompanied by Jake for moral support. The test is quick, a simple swab of the cheek, but the significance of the moment weighs heavily on all of us. After the test, we return to the apartment and wait. The days drag by, each one filled with a mix of hope and dread. Jake and I keep busy by continuing our search for Mark, determined to hold him accountable. One evening, as we're poring over old contacts and leads, my phone rings. It's the clinic. My heart races as I answer. Mr. Daniels, we have the results of your paternity test. The voice on the other end says, Samuel is indeed your son. The words hit me like a freight train, and I can barely breathe. I thank the caller and hang up, my mind racing. Samuel is my son. The responsibility, the weight of it, is overwhelming, but there's also a fierce determination. I will protect him, no matter what. I share the news with Rebecca and Jake. Rebecca's relief is palpable, and she hugs me tightly. Thank you, Alex. Thank you for believing in us. Jake claps me on the back, his grin wide. Looks like we've got some work to do. Let's get started. With the paternity confirmed, Lisa moves swiftly to file the necessary paperwork. We petition for joint custody, and she begins the process of tracking down Mark to demand child support. The legal wheels are in motion, but there's still a long road ahead. One evening, as I'm helping Samuel with a puzzle, there's a knock on the door. I open it to find Lisa standing there, a serious expression on her face. We found Mark, she says, stepping inside. He's been hiding out in a rundown motel on the edge of town. We need to confront him, make it clear that he can't just walk away. Rebecca looks nervous, but I feel a surge of determination. Let's do it, I say. He needs to face the consequences. Jake, Rebecca, and I follow Lisa to the motel, a grimy place that reeks of desperation. We find Mark's room and Lisa knocks firmly on the door. After a moment, Mark opens the door, his expression shifting from surprise to annoyance when he sees us. What do you want? He snarls. Lisa steps forward, her voice firm and authoritative. Mark Evans, you've been served with a summons for child support. You have a legal obligation to support your son, and you will not be allowed to shirk that responsibility. Mark glares at us, but there's a flicker of fear in his eyes. You can't make me pay, he sneers. I don't have any money. We'll let the courts decide, that Lisa says calmly. But make no mistake, you will be held accountable. As we leave the motel, I feel a sense of vindication. It's a small victory, but it's a step in the right direction. We're fighting for Samuel's future, and we won't back down. The journey is far from over, but with allies like Jake and Lisa, and the unwavering support of Rebecca, I know we can navigate the challenges ahead. Together we'll build a stable, loving home for Samuel, and ensure that the mistakes of the past don't define his future. The weeks that follow are a whirlwind of legal battles and emotional upheaval. Rebecca, Samuel, and I settle into a tentative routine, trying to build a semblance of normalcy amid the chaos. Jake is a constant presence, offering support and keeping spirits high. Lisa works tirelessly, ensuring that our case against Mark is airtight. It seems like we're finally moving in the right direction. One afternoon, as I'm picking Samuel up from preschool, I notice a man lingering near the entrance. He's well-dressed, with a sharp, calculating look. My instincts scream that something is off. As I approach, he steps forward, blocking my path. Mr. Daniels, he asks, his voice smooth but cold. I'm Detective Harris. I need to speak with you. I tense, pulling Samuel closer. What's this about? May we talk somewhere private, he suggests, glancing around. The other parents are beginning to notice the confrontation. Reluctantly, I agree, leading him to my car. Once we're seated, he hands me a file. We've been investigating Mark Evans. Turns out he's involved in something much bigger than just shirking child support. What do you mean, I ask, flipping through the file. It's filled with photos, financial records, and police reports. Mark Evans is connected to a smuggling ring, Harris explains. We believe he's been using his connections to move contraband through the city. Your situation caught our attention because it appears he may be trying to use your son as leverage in a deal gone wrong. My mind reels. Leverage? What kind of leverage? Rebecca's involvement with him might not have been as accidental as it seemed, Harris continues. We have reason to believe she was part of his operation, willingly or not. When things started falling apart, she reached out to you, possibly as a backup plan. The implications hit me like a ton of bricks. Rebecca had always seemed desperate, but now I wonder if there's more to her story. My thoughts swirl with confusion and anger. Why are you telling me this, I ask, my voice tight with suspicion. Because we need your help, Harris replies. We need to get Mark and his associates off the streets, and you're in a unique position to help us do that. I sit back, trying to process everything. Samuel looks up at me with innocent eyes, unaware of the storm brewing around him. I need to protect him, but I also need answers. I'll help, I say finally. But my priority is Samuel. He can't be caught in the middle of this. Harris nods. We'll make sure he's safe. But we need you to gather information from Rebecca. Find out what she knows, and see if she's willing to cooperate. That evening I confront Rebecca. We sit at the kitchen table, the weight of the day pressing down on us. Rebecca, I need to know the truth, I say, my voice steady but firm. Are you involved with Mark's criminal activities? Her eyes widen, and she starts to shake her head, but I can see the fear in her eyes. Alex, I didn't have a choice. Mark threatened me. He said if I didn't help him, he'd hurt Samuel. Why didn't you tell me, I ask, my voice rising with frustration. We could have found another way. I was scared, she cries, tears streaming down her face. I didn't know what to do. And when things went wrong, I thought you could help us. I didn't know who else to turn to. I take a deep breath, trying to calm my racing thoughts. Rebecca, Detective Harris is investigating Mark. He wants your help to bring him down, but you need to be honest with me. Can you do that? She nods, wiping her eyes. Yes, I'll do whatever it takes to protect Samuel. We spend the next few days gathering information, Rebecca revealing everything she knows about Mark's operation. Harris and his team set up a sting, using the information to plan their move. The tension is palpable, each day a nerve-wracking wait for the final confrontation. Finally, the day arrives. Harris briefs us on the plan. Rebecca will meet Mark at a secluded location, pretending to negotiate a new deal. The police will be nearby, ready to move in. I'm to stay out of sight, keeping Samuel safe. The location is an abandoned warehouse on the outskirts of town. As Rebecca heads inside, I watch from a distance, my heart pounding. Harris and his team are hidden, ready to strike. Inside, Rebecca meets Mark, who looks more paranoid than ever. What's this about, he demands. I want out, Rebecca says, her voice steady. I have information that could help you, but I need guarantees for Samuel's safety. Mark narrows his eyes. You think you can just walk away? I have leverage, she replies, glancing nervously towards the hidden police. At that moment, Harris gives the signal. The police storm the warehouse, shouting orders. Mark tries to flee, but he's quickly apprehended. Rebecca is taken into protective custody, and Harris assures me that she'll be safe while they sort everything out. As the dust settles, I hold Samuel close, relief flooding through me. It's over. Mark is behind bars, and Rebecca is cooperating with the authorities. The nightmare is finally ending. In the weeks that follow, life begins to return to normal. Rebecca is granted leniency for her cooperation, and we work together to create a stable home for Samuel. Jake and Lisa remain by our side, their unwavering support a constant source of strength. One evening, as we sit in the living room, watching Samuel play, Rebecca turns to me. Thank you, Alex, for everything. I know I've made mistakes, but I want to make things right. We'll get through this, I say, taking her hand. Together. And as I watch Samuel's innocent laughter fill the room, I know that no matter what the future holds, we've faced the worst and come out stronger. The road ahead may still be uncertain, but we're no longer facing it alone.